Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in Unlock Game Talks, the second episode. I am Diego Ricchiuti. I'm a game designer. I have 16 years of experience in the game industry. I have worked for AAA, AA, indie. My most recent game are A Quiet Place. Also, Stefano did that. And not actually available yet, but in April, Star Overdrive. And with me, there is Uriel.
Hey everyone, nice to see you all. I'm Uriel Cozzolino from Rome. I'm a game designer. I teach game design at IVU, Accademia Italiana Videogiochi. I've been developing for the last 3.5 years Dino Patrol, rugged survival set in the Wild West where dinosaurs never gone extinct. We are going live the 24th of February with the Steam Next Fest. This is our first game, and I'm currently managing EGDA in Rome. It's an association for game developers. We build a community, so that's me.
Stefano?
And I'm Stefano Cozzi. I also used to work in AAA companies like Blizzard Entertainment and Riot Games. I came back to Italy a couple years ago, and I worked for Stormline Games up until last November. And now I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Perfect. So, spoiler alert, it's Helldivers 2 that we are talking about, not much of a surprise since we have a virtual background. And I see that we already have 3 people. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for dedicating your time to us. As always, please write, ask question, everything. This is super chit chat, answering, very friendly talk. So I hope we enjoy it. And in case it's first time you see Unlock Game Talks, what is this live? This live, usually me and Uriel, but today we had Stefano as a special guest. We talk about co-op game that we play. Why it's called Unlock Game Talks? Because me and Uriel usually waste at least 30 minutes before play a game because of technical reasons, like it doesn't work or the microphone doesn't work and things like that.
Yeah,
And today
it
we're
seems
talking
like
about...
you cannot escape this tragedy every single time.
No, it's impossible. And so, Helldivers 2. I want to start with saying that I absolutely adored Helldivers 2. I absolutely loved it. I love the theme, the super America theme, bringing freedom by shooting things and killing things. I love that concept. But also, I love the gameplay. I think the shooting is very well done. But mostly what really captured me, and this is the first element that I want to ask both Uriel and Stefano, is the cinematic experience. This game has not cinematic in the sense of pre-rendered video. I mean, he has that. That's not important. But he has a cinematic feeling. Sometimes you do certain things in this game, and I will tell one that happened to me and to Uriel, that makes a movie. And I will tell you what this happened. It was me and Uriel playing, and we were almost finished a mission. It was the first time that we were doing one of the hardest difficulty, the one they introduced the last type of power of resource, the very rare, I don't know how it's called in any case. And at a certain point, I had these resources. And I got killed. And we don't have more respawn. Uriel, turn back. Get to my dead body. Pick up the resources. And for the next 2 minutes, run, surviving, reaching the end point, which was overrun by insectoid, by the tyrannid, and get into and saves the day. And that was an action movie, 100% an action movie, but not scripted, live action movie. And that is the moment I understood that this game was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's super easy just to open up YouTube and look for Helldivers 2 cinematic moments, and there are so many from so many different people because it's that easy. You are just playing and you are creating this super epic and memorable moments that works very, very well because they are memorable. So you are off game, you are chatting with friends, and you are telling them about those moments. So you are reliving the game, you are keeping the game alive, even when you are not playing, and that's something that works pretty well for a game.
Yeah, from a marketing standpoint, and I'm biased because that's my background, but from a marketing standpoint, having a game that feels like it's so easily uh, uh, performed for a TikTok audience. So you can have very short clips of people. I think the last one I saw was the atomic trebuchet. So basically, with the last patch, you can carry a nuclear device on your back as your backpack, and people are dropping the device, calling a turret. The turret then trebuchets the atomic bomb into a camp, and you can clear the game that way. And that's like 10 seconds of gameplay, and it gets 2 million views on TikTok. So it's very easy to use that cinematic experience also from a marketing standpoint. And I think it begins with the when you drop. So simply the fact that in space you can see several destroyers. If more people are playing on the same planet as you are, it really gives the feeling of I'm part of something bigger, and I'm part of a Starship Troopers movie experience.
Exactly. Exactly. Also, we have other people that join us, so thank you again for giving us your time. Please
Hey.
write. And this is a chit chat. We want to talk with you guys, give us questions. You have how many years are you, Stefano?
How many years of experience, or how old am
A
I?
lot, yes. No, how many years of experience?
18 now.
18 plus 16
Yeah.
plus 5 from Uriel. You have like 30 more of experience of the gaming industry right now.
You just
And
want to make me feel old. That's what I
nah,
do.
man, nah. And actually, there is something that I want to tell them that one of the most TikTok part for me, in which I'm part of the cause, is killing your own teammates. And Uriel does that
Yes.
very well,
Yes.
knows that very
That's
well.
true. I can vouch for that.
That is perfectly TikTokable because sometimes you
Yeah.
throw the turret and the turret kills everyone. At the start, I loved the mortar turret.
Yeah.
And there were so many instances in which Uriel was like, Diego, did you just kill me? Oopsie. Yeah, that's
Not
I have an
directly.
alibi. It was on the other side of the map. Just my turret was near you. But yes, absolutely. And that's actually highlighted at the end of the match because you can see the number of how much damage and how many friends did you kill during the match. So that will spark a conversation at the end of the match.
Hi, Alberto.
Hi.
Or at least some comments.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Like, for example, Uriel always commenting on the fact that I used the weapon that had almost infinite bullet.
Yeah.
And I had like 5,000 bullet and 3%
Accuracy.
accuracy. It was like, I'm shooting stuff, someone will eventually
Yeah.
die, maybe my friends, maybe the enemy.
Statistically, you're bound to hit something if you
Exactly,
shoot 5,000
exactly.
bullets. So it's fine.
Exactly. It's just that.
Ammunition is cheap. We don't care about that.
Yeah.
Now,
And
obviously, go.
about the memorability and the feeling part of something more that Stefano mentioned before, I wanted to add something because recently I've seen a small interview that has been done to Joel. Joel is the game master, and later on during this chat, I really like to go deeper in the concept of a game master in this context because I don't think I've ever seen one like this. But I was seeing an interview, and he was telling the story of one of the most interesting interesting moments for him as a game developer in this game. Apparently, during the first period of the game, Illuminates were not a thing yet.
Yeah.
Automatons were advancing really, really bad, and they were conquering a lot of stuff. And they had the time missions where people had to defend planets from automatons. And they came up to one of the last mission, one of the most important ones. They had to defend the last planet before Super Earth, and it was getting to the last moment of the mission, the last hour, and it seemed like it was a lost cause. So the people of Super Earth were going to lose. Democracy was going to die. Automatons were very, very close. And
Hi, Mike.
hi. And so the developers were behind the screens looking at the numbers. Okay, they've lost. There is no way they can come back from this. And all of the people in the community, on the forums, they raise up all together, screaming to their friends, come, help us, etc., etc. And they actually managed to recover that up to a point where it was 50-50. They were so close to lose and so close to win. And 30 minutes before the end of this mission, Steam had the server management. So all of the Steam community, the people from PC, they went offline and they couldn't help anymore. And that was like the last hit. Okay, no, they've lost. There is no way in the last 30 minutes without the Steam people, they are going to conquer this, to defend this planet. And the management time of the server finished 3 minutes before the end of the mission. And all of the developers were near their computers looking at the screen. They will do it. No, there is no way. And they actually did it. In the last 3 minutes, they managed to conquer, to defend the planet with the last stand of all the PC players coming back to the game at once, waiting. And of course, the forums during those 30 minutes were going crazy because all of the PC gamers were there typing and inciting the Xbox player, or I don't remember, no, the PlayStation player, please make the last stand, survive, we're coming back, wait for us. And that was a super epic moment, and I think everyone involved felt like they were part of something much bigger than just a game.
And actually, talking about that, I have a question for Stefano. First, new people join us on the live. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for dedicating your time. And please write any question that you have, any comment, anything. Very easy live chat. So, Stefano, some people might not know, if they don't know you, that you also being community manager for Blizzard.
Yeah.
So, from a community managing point of view and a community point of view, from your experience, how do you see the complexity and the opportunity of having Joel? So basically having a game master, not a specific narrative, and something that evolves so much from the community instead that from the developer, that usually have the full control of the narrative and the progression.
I was thinking about this because I'm still unsure if I would be thrilled to have such responsibilities as a community manager, because basically is a community manager acting as a game master.
Yes.
Or if I would be terrorized by the fact that what scares me the most is the need for balance. Like even the fact that something can be unsure for the last 3 minutes, it could have been easily been something like we completed this 3 days before the deadline, or we were so far from meeting the deadline that we didn't even try anymore, right? So it feels like it's a community management / game developer position, because you need to have game design knowledge to be able to be an effective dungeon master or game master for the game. I think it's a very interesting position. I also think that it went from it's a kind of a roller coaster position. You know, it started as a hellish position. I've been playing 150 hours in the game so far since launch, so I followed almost everything from even before the new faction joined the ranks of enemies and so on. And I think that up until the point where Sony decided to make things difficult for Arrowhead, let's put it that way, it was a very difficult job. Then I think that it was a combined effort of making more rational decisions, even when it comes to publishing, I think. And also they stopped trying to balance the game. I don't know about your perception on this, but I got the feeling that when they stopped trying to balance everything out and they just started to let people have their fun in their own way, they every job related to Helldivers 2 became easier to perform, and you can actually feel that in the missions that they give you, in the objectives that they give you. It seems like it's a rebirth of narrative and community instead of just focusing on we have to do damage control. I don't know about your feelings about this.
I fully agree on the concept of balancing. For the people that maybe didn't play Helldivers at the start, they were putting balance patch basically every 2 weeks, and by nerfing things, and people hated that. And here I want to talk about two elements of game design. On what Stefano was saying, that was very correct, which is usually in balance you nerf things. Now this actually is a kind of a mistake unless you are nerfing something or a game that is connected to a multiplayer competitive experience. Because of course, if I have the super weapon that kills everyone, that's unfair for the people that, kind of like get that. But while yes, Helldiver is in some way competitive in the sense of what Durier was saying. Oh, let's say who kills more of these things. If I have super weapon that kills more bugs, it doesn't really affect the game,
No, and if you think about it, the way they're balancing it now is that they're adding more bugs.
Exactly. And that's the way you do it, because at the end of the day, Helldivers is a single player experience in some way. It's a shared single player experience. So the fact that, yes, your weapon can kill 300 more million bugs is what Stefano was saying. Let's just add 300 more million bugs.
Yeah.
Bigger bugs, stronger bugs. We can do everything.
It's going to be in... sorry, Stefano.
Well, it in a way, it reminded me of League of Legends balance. Because the designers were nerfing stuff, balancing stuff, looking at the usage percentage of weapons and loadouts and so on. And then they stopped doing that, and now everything is funnier. It's more fun to play. Yeah.
Yeah, and this kind of balance is is going to lean closer to the actual pillars of Helldivers, because it's going to create more chaos and more epic moments and more memorable and cinematic moments, as we were saying before. So this is the kind of balance that actually improves the game, instead of, okay, this weapon is too powerful, you should not use it or not enjoy it as much because now it's not that powerful anymore.
Exactly. And talking about the game master, I think from a game design point of view, it's definitely a hellish position. Because, if you're not making the game interesting enough from the game design point of view on the narrative side, so narrative design, then people will notice that. Literally, the developer will notice, hey, less people is playing the game, so probably the last event was not as fun. But from a game design point of view, in sense of retention, it's incredible. It's a majestic tool. And I think a lot of studio will eventually copy. Why I say will and not now? Because it's difficult. That's what Stefano was saying. It's difficult. You need someone good at it, someone that can take stress, someone that can maybe don't sleep for a certain amount of time because of time zones.
You need someone able to take the back seat. Because if you get someone in that position that is putting himself on front, you don't get the same result. And I think they changed this person, right? Because either they changed the lead balance designer or this role, because there's been a very tight turnaround on balance design philosophy, right? Yeah. So it feels like we have to put the right person in the right place for this.
They definitely change it because of the amount of money. I mean, it's very simple. Helldivers, it's a money printing machine. Okay, and I'm happy that it is, because it's a very good game. So it's good that it is a pretty money printing. But when you make that amount of money, because remember, the Helldivers is not a AAA project. Okay, while maybe Sony expected to be successful, no one expected to be this successful. Okay, it's unexpected. So when you make this amount of money, the team grow, the team change, certain people move, also for stress reason too. Once again, having 100K players, it's a thing. Having millions of players is another thing. Not everyone has the skill and the stress necessary to handle this, which is an ability, is a purely ability. But as I say, from a retention point of view, this idea of the game master is a masterpiece in retention, because even when you're not playing the game, you might want to join in to get rewards from the community that they did the mission from the game master, but also maybe you get on TikTok, as Stefano was saying, or on YouTube and watch the new meme video in which they show the Illuminati, or in which they show what Stefano was saying. Now they do trebuchet with nuclear weapon, and it keeps you in the loop in the same way. And that's why I have these things here. Magic does that for 20 years now more than 20 years, 22 years. I played this game. And they do that in the same way. They keep you with new content, new element, and the community. And this is something that is remarkable, because it is really remarkable.
Yes.
For a game that doesn't have that much narrative. Because if it's World of Warcraft, is one thing. But this game, yes, has a story, has a narrative, but once again, it's more America and let's bring freedom to planets.
Yeah. Now it's in. I was mentioning earlier that from a certain perspective, it's easier to do this job because you don't have set timeline for the content drops, right? Because in World of Warcraft, as you mentioned, you have the expansions and then you have the big patches, and you kind of know what's coming, and you know that certain elements will hit at a certain time. So from a publishing perspective, you have to plan around it, okay? In Helldivers, we have the battle passes, right? I think they're called passes.
Well, the new weapons, basically.
Yeah, the
war bonds force.
The war bonds, right?
The war bonds.
But the narrative, like Malevolent Creek or the black hole hitting a planet, it's nothing to do with the content drops. So you're basically building a parallel narrative, which is amazing for marketing because you don't have control over that, but also you don't have commitments over that. So it's freely going online on TikToks and so on. And I think it's amazing to have that kind of possibilities, to be able to be in the community and also do drops for the community. And I also enjoyed the fact that the big drop with the Illuminati factions arrived basically, 2 hours after they announced it? Because if I remember correctly, they mentioned it during the, what was it, the show? Where they announced the content.
I don't remember the name of the show, but it was like 2.
But yeah, so they announced it during one of the big shows, and 2 hours later, the patch was live, and everyone was trying the new stuff. So it's good to be able to do that instead of being limited by big patches, big content drops, and big expansions like I was in World of Warcraft.
Yeah, and it gives you freedom between, the development team that is making Warbounds, so it's making the gameplay, and let's say the narrative or community team that is keeping the people engaged. Also, we have new people joining the live, so thank you for dedicating your time. Please say hi or ask a question or anything that you want. This is a super friendly live, so chit chat. And actually, I have a question for anyone who's watching. Tell us your favorite moment in Helldivers, or any question that you have on Helldivers, especially favorite moment though, because I love them. And as I said at the start, I caused many of them, not sometimes good ones, but definitely memorable. And I think we can pass another element, which is now I have the bugs, but we talk many times that bugs are not the only faction in the game. Right now there are 3 factions. At the start of the game there were 2 factions, the bot and the bugs. Basically, for people who didn't play the game, the bots are basically robots. And why this is very interesting to me, and I want to know your opinion on this, is that the bugs are definitely Starship Troopers. We say that many times, is a cinematic, it's basically that movie, but also they are the easier faction. Most of the time, bugs require less strategy than bots. They are more chaos oriented. So if I make chaos and you, Stefano, make chaos and Uriel make chaos, and we're generally killing everything that moves, we can still beat the bugs relatively easy, even without coordination. While the bot are not like that. If you don't coordinate with the bot, they just obliterate you. They just kill you and your own family on Super Earth and everything like that. And this is why I think it's very interesting, because this is basically a learning curve in a faction system, in which if you want to have the more for fun experience, you do that. You do the bugs. If you want to have a more difficult and Rambo experience, you do the other. So before answering my question, actually, let's give the audience and let's say, do you think Helldivers 2 business model is sustainable in the long run? Okay, so let's answer each one of us this, and then we go back to my point. In my point of view, yes, because at the end of the day, he made so much money already that the game is successful. So even if tomorrow the game closes, they will do Helldiver 3. Now, if you're asking me they will keep Helldivers 2 in a sort of League of Legends example of Stefano, no, they will not. They will follow a model similar to Overwatch. So they will do Helldivers 2, milk Helldivers 2, and then eventually announce Helldivers 3, letting Helldivers 2 die. Why that? Because system like League of Legends require way more work, way more cost. Instead, the genius or the lack, depends how you want to see, of Helldivers 2 is what Stefano was saying. It's simple, it's effective, it's cheap. And you wanted to keep it in these three ways, because the more it's cheap, the more it's effective, the more simple it is, the higher is the ROI, return of investment. Transforming it into a League of Legends will eventually kill it, because will not make it sustainable. That's how I see it.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that we need to keep in mind is that Helldivers is not a free-to-play game, so it doesn't need to only rely on the Warbound system. You pay a full-price game. It's about 40 euros, if I remember correctly.
I think it's 29.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
29 now.
Okay. But still, it's about 30 euros. So they are gaining a first income from just selling the game, and then they have more sustainability added through the Warbound events. And the system that they implemented with this Warbound, where it's different from a season pass, where you need to buy it, and there is a little bit of FOMO involved. But once it's out, you lost everything. Here you can keep it, and you will be able to purchase it even later on if you really liked something, or if you are new to the game, you can still buy things from the past. So
yeah.
Just to add what's saying Uriel, while Uriel was talking, I just searched how many copies is sold, and it's 12 million. So even if we take gross money and we say 29, not 49, you can do 49, I don't know, 29, let's do 10 euros just for simplicity, maybe discount 10 euros per 12 million.
240 million, right?
120, if it's 10 euros, it's 120 million.
Yeah, so it's 240.
Exactly, so it's 240, only by the selling. So you can see it's already effective.
Yeah.
Also, new people join us, so thank you for following us.
What I enjoy about the business model is that I still have war bonds that I didn't complete yet, because maybe a new war bond comes out and I buy the new war bond and I start unlocking stuff. But not having a deadline makes me buy them more willingly, because I don't need to worry about, okay, but will I be able to play in the next month? Because every time I buy a battle pass in, I don't know, Sea of Thieves or whatever, I'm also considering, how's my next month like I will be able to play, I won't be able to play, and so on. And then there's the superstore. So, and today they added 3 pages of superstore instead of just one, so you have a quicker rotation of items in the superstore, and you don't have to wait so long to maybe buy an armor that you didn't have the super credits for at the time when it was released. So I think that this flexibility in we're doing game as a service, but we are your own terms instead of the company's terms. It's way more flexible, and it allows the game to be a bit more allowing in terms of you play it with your time and your free time, basically.
You know, Stefano, maybe you just invented a new terminology in the game industry: flexible game as a service.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's
FGAS. FGAS.
it's probably games as a service on demand.
Game as a service
Because-
on demand. It sounds better. Yes, game as a service on demand sounds better. But also to add on what Stefano was saying, you also noticed that they did certain things to increase the revenue. Of course, for example, few months ago now, they added a limit to the number of I don't remember the name. Let's say called stars that you can accumulate, which is 250.
Oh yeah.
Now,
The
why
medals.
is that? Because what Stefano was saying. Because maybe if I accumulate 300 gazillion, then the new Warbound drops, and I can buy everything, and I don't have this engagement. Instead, if I have always to conquer more because there is this limit of 250 at a time, I also need to come back. But as Stefano was saying, and I like game as a service on demand, I think we should recycle. So let's say that we invented that. Well, I didn't do it. So Stefano invented it. But on unlike Game Talks, let's steal a bit of the glory.
Yeah, it's like Helldivers. We are putting our flag.
Exactly.
in
I
the
think
terminology.
it's a very good model, and I think it's a very good model exactly for what Stefano was saying, because it doesn't force you. And that's very nice. Also, new people join us on watching. So once again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for giving your time. Please say hi or have any question that you want or whatever. It's a very friendly chat.
Yeah, and I think another aspect of this of what Stefano was saying is how the brand is perceived. Helldivers for a long time has been perceived like they are friends of the gamers. They have been trying to do everything for the gamers and not for profit. When the Sony incident came out,
yes.
people were still on the side of the game and of the developers. And I think that will make players much more willing to actually spend money on the game, because they feel like, okay, I can give you money. It's not like you are forcing me to give you money.
Yeah, it's more respectful of the player base, I think. If I had to sum it up, I would say that it's more respectful of the customer's money, first of all, and of the customer's time. And I think that being respectful is something that's it's a lost art these days. And I think that more studios are finally understanding that if you treat your player base respectfully, they will put more money into your game out of the respect you're giving them, which I think is wonderful. And yeah, hopefully this catches on. Yeah.
I agree with that, especially on player time. It's the game also. It's very on point on avoiding patting. There are so many games that just fill their game with useless things. Of hey, collect 300 gazillion million of this object that is pointless and irrelevant, but we put an achievement on it, or just do 300 gazillion missions that are the same. Instead, Helldivers, in that sense, is very respectful on the player time. Every mission that you do give rewards, can give potential premium currency, give additional stars, and advance the game story or the community game story based on the planet. Now, sometimes you might want to do the planet that everyone's talking about because it's the big one, the dangerous, whatever. But also sometimes you just do your own planet, and even by a bit, you are advancing and seeing. And in some way, actually, we also know that they lie on that. Sometimes they show you that you have more impact on the planet or what you're doing, but it's still fine because
I'd be surprised if the numbers we see are actually correct.
Exactly.
I don't expect them to be correct, to be honest. I think it goes into the immersion factor of I'm participating. I don't need to double check the numbers you're giving me. What I hate the most about you said are things like dailies. I'm on a personal crusade against daily quests since my time in Blizzard. I think that forcing players to log in to receive their daily dose of rewards is an artificial way of saying either you play on our own schedule, or it's better if you just stop playing because you'll be falling behind compared to everyone else. So even just the fact that there's no daily system, and the fact that if they put a global mission out, and the awards for these missions are usually 50 medals, 60 medals, whatever, it's very high compared to what you can get out of a mission, and you don't participate, you log in a month later, you get the rewards for the people that completed the mission for you. So you still get drops of 80, 90, 100 medals every time you log in if you stop playing. This is what caring for your community is
And I
translating
got so many
to.
medals in that way. Medals, so many.
Yeah.
I stole so many medals from the community by doing nothing. And it's that exactly what Stefano was saying. This is great, actually. Because there were many times which I couldn't play. And if it was any other game, that would discourage me and just abandon the game. Like, oh, I'm done. The community is too far. I became a noob again. Instead, I log in, I get 200 medals, and say, oh, wow, that's awesome. Actually, instead of being punished, I get reward, and I get this kind of like
Thanks,
jump
guys.
start boost to buy cool shit and go back in the game. And yes, it's thank you guys, but it's important because it's thank you the community. It's not really thank you the developer.
No, it's thank you players. Like
Exactly,
thank you
players.
fellow Helldivers.
Exactly.
And this works so well with everything that we have been saying up until now, because it works with the narrative of the game, because the motto of the game is for Super Earth, not for me, but everyone within Super Earth.
Exactly.
So if the Helldivers, the other Helldivers completed the mission, we all get rewarded, and it works very well with the max limit that Diego was telling before of 250 stars, because the game can give you like 5 months of stars. It doesn't matter, because you are not going to be infinitely rich with the premium currency. You have a cap, so you cannot go over that limit. So there is no problem. But as Diego was saying, you will feel more willing to come back into the game, because you are going to spend that currency, you are going to get new stuff, and now you want to try it out. So you are going to jump inside the game once again and come back into the loop.
And the most recent war bonds actually are using this system by giving you licenses to buy new weapons. So you unlock the license with the war bond, and then you actually have to buy the requisition using the other currency, the requisition points, to actually get the loadout, which is, I think, another way of improving the monetization, which is, again, respectful of the players.
Because that's at the end of the game. That's like something that we didn't say at the start, but I think it's important. Also, new people join us, so thank you once again to watching us, dedicating your time. Please write, say hi or whatever, or any question. Which is monetization. It's not evil.
Yeah.
It can be evil. Absolutely. It can be evil. If you know me as a game designer, you always know that I say the game design at its base, by any form of design. So game design by any form of design is manipulation at its base. Web design is manipulation. Game design is manipulation. Behavioral design is manipulation. Any form of design is manipulation, because I, as the designer, I want someone to do something. So yes, absolutely. Monetization can be evil. It can be something that people exploit people for money, but it also can be very respectful. It can be very respectful, and it can be something that actually improve the game and improve the experience. Because we also need to remember that to keep a diverse server, to do new war bounds, they need to pay people. Very simple. Or pay servers, or pay things, and many other things. So they need money. Now, you say, okay, Diego, but you showed us that they probably made at least 200 million in gross revenue. First, that's his gross. How much is net? I don't know. Depends how much the game costed, the revenue share split, and things like that. But let's say that they still have probably a lot of money out of that. Very respectfully. Yes.
They've been hiring, so yeah, it's
exactly. They will be hiring. They will be making things. So I'm not against monetization in any form of way when, as Stefano said, it's respectful of people, player, and time. When it's predatory or unrespectful, then I am not pro monetization, because at that point you're just doing something to abuse your condition of power, because that's at the end what it is. You are the developer, so you are in a condition of power on the player to just take more money, which it's not good. But that's not what Helldivers is doing, at least not what he's doing now. I can talk in the future, but so far they didn't. Maybe now, like, oh, we just change everything, we triple the price.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
but these are
instantly
developers that recognize that one of the I think during their cooperation with Killzone, maybe they launched a series of a set of armor and weapons inspired by another Sony PlayStation game, which I think is Killzone. Now I
yes.
didn't play, so I don't remember correctly, but they realized it was too expensive. They took it out of the store, they put it back, and they gave free stuff to everyone. So
Yes.
I think they are very much aware of this, and also the fact that the CEO stepped down as CEO of Arrowhead to go back to be the lead game designer. It tells you a lot about what their
Absolutely.
priorities are, I think.
No, it is. It is very, very good. Diablo Mortal is you. Yes, exactly, Arius.
Yeah.
Exactly
Don't
that.
get me started.
You are got the reference 100%. Also, Magic, it's a bit is you too, you know? So you got it 100%, yes.
But to me, and I will stop talking about other games. To me, the two main culprits of not being respectful are Star Citizen, first of all, because when you're selling ships for $20,000, no, you don't get my vote. You don't have my support. And the second are games like all the Ultimate Team model. So that's something that I don't really like. And whenever I see those models, I try to step away from the game, because I feel like, as Diego was saying, it's predatory and not exactly fair to the user. And Helldivers 2 is that you can like or dislike the game, to be honest, but I would be very skeptical about people that would tell me that they are being predatory with the business model, or they are not respecting the community, because they are doing what a game developer can actually do when you publish a game under a publisher and under Sony Interact and PlayStation, to be as respectful as possible to the players. So I think they're doing everything they can, and it's not perfect, because for a player, perfect is everything is free. But unfortunately, you cannot sustain a game as a service on-demand game with free stuff. So you also need to get some kind of monetization in. And as far as I'm concerned, they are doing the best they can to make it respectful.
I fully agree, and I think I also that in general you can't make a free game. In general,
Yeah.
there are certain cases, but even
There
if
is no such thing as a free game. Basically.
Exactly. In this case, the American are right. There's no such thing as a free lunch. And regarding what Arius was saying, you are 100% right on that. Pay to win is a big problem. And in that sense, though, we have to be honest. In their case, it's easier. So they don't have this big problem, because, once again, their game is, conceptually speaking, a single player experience. So if Stefano, I don't know, pays more and gets super cool weapon that kills millions of bugs, it's cool. Actually, I would love to have Stefano in my team that kills more bugs and help us to win. So in this case, paying to win, yes, it is arguable in the, as Netska saying, in this game, but it's something that it doesn't really affect as much as it will affect if you're facing. Basically, the idea is like, if I face someone and this person has an unfair advantage and beats me because he paid, I feel very angry. It's a normal human response, because you feel unjust. That's at the end of the day what it is. You're feeling unjust. If you fight alongside someone that has super cool powers, because you paid, yes, you might think, oh, it's a skill issue. So you might think, oh, this person is not as good, but you will still be happy that this person is on your
Yeah,
side.
you'll feel like the sidekick of Batman and Robin, basically. Like
Exactly.
it's sometimes you're Batman, sometimes you're Robin. That's
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
because maybe you bought a different war bond. So against the bots, maybe you're stronger, and you have the cool weapons against the bots, while your friend has the cool weapons against the bugs or whatever. So,
Yeah, and
Exactly. And
you can
this,
actually
yeah.
you can actually exchange things like Batman and Robin. Batman can give you his gadgets because
Yeah.
you can call. This happened to us, Diego, with Gianluca. He was
Exactly.
much higher level than us, and he already had unlocked the mecha, and we didn't.
Yeah.
So first time we played together, he called the mecha and gave it to Diego. So Diego was actually able to play with something higher.
And it doesn't even have to be willingly giving you stuff, because if
no,
he dies,
exactly.
If you die.
Absolutely true.
Let's
So-
say he has an accident and
Exactly.
he drops the weapons.
You know,
I mean,
I wrongly shooting him in the back.
Yeah.
I was definitely aiming.
turrets are unpredictable. Grenades
Exactly.
are. It happens. You can drop your weapon, and
It can happen.
I
It can
might
happen
be
to the
there to
best of
pick up
ones.
the samples, and I might be there to pick up your railgun. I don't know.
Exactly. It can happen to the best of one, and sometimes my accuracy become 100% if you have a mech randomly instead of 3% of my normal accuracy. But yes, as Uriel was saying and Stefano was reminding, like in the worst case, you are feeling a sidekick, but you're still happy because at the end of the day, you get the reward if the mission is complete. So hey, better work with people that is good than with who is bad. And in the best case scenario, these people willingly give you the stuff, and you will feel so cool because you're doing something that maybe you can't, or maybe you are trying a weapon that you wanted to try, but it's in a war bound, so you didn't know if you like it or not, and now you can try it before, or incidents happen and you can still have the cool stuff without spending money. So pay to win is absolutely a problem, but in a basically shared single player experience, it is not, because we win against the game. Of course,
it's not easy to get to that point, because even if we take another cooperative game, like I don't know, Monster Hunter, which is coming out in the next few weeks, if I were able to buy powerful weapons there with money, I would achieve something that you wouldn't be able to achieve, and even playing with me wouldn't feel the same because I would have access to different stuff. But here it's different because, first of all, you can drop stuff. You cannot drop armor, but honestly, the armors are like you get such a small type of bonuses from armors that you don't really feel like it's more aesthetics than everything. So it's not anything
also,
else.
as
So
I
I
was
don't like.
saying,
But it's even a cooperative game. It's not easy to get to the point where you can freely sell stuff without thinking I'm advantaging someone over someone else, and it's harder for people to accept that.
I think one of the points here is that in Helldivers, you can buy the Warbound, but you are not buying the weapon. So once I spend money to get the Warbound, I still need to grind to get the currency to be able to buy the weapon. So we are still grinding together.
Yeah.
Also, another point to comparison with Monster Hunter, I think that in Monster Hunter, your weapon and your armor, it's your medal. It's the proof that you defeated that creature enough time and you're cool enough. In Helldivers, the fact that you're using a certain weapon is technically irrelevant to how good you are. You might use a new weapon, an old weapon, the right weapon. At the end of the day, you just want to kill things, whatever they are. So it's not like, oh, I got this weapon because I killed, I don't know, Titan bugs 7 times, and I am the Titan.
Because there are no skins for weapons, which is something I agree with. Like, you don't get the golden version of a weapon if you kill a gazillion bugs or whatnot. So
exactly. So if there was something like that, I think the pay to win would have been more noticeable. So if I had like I don't know, the golden turret, if my turret kills 3 million bugs, but I can accelerate by just buy the golden turret, that would have been a problem.
And again, this fits into the narrative because we have to remember that we're not playing an Helldiver, we're playing a destroyer.
Exactly.
because your Helldiver dies in training, basically. So you're playing
Hey,
the
my diver
tutorial.
was the best cadet
Yeah,
of the diver super heart has ever seen.
and by default, every time you drop, you get a random voice back because it's supposed to tell you. It's a way of the game of telling you that guy died. This is another one out of millions of Helldivers. We don't care about the guy. You're the commander of the destroyer. So it's fitting that even the weapons are so expendable that you don't get to customize them. You don't get to add sights or muzzle brakes or whatever, expanded magazines like Call of Duty. You don't get to do anything. You just drop them, you use them, and you die. And that's
Exactly,
the
and you
gameplay loop.
die a lot. And actually, on that, another thing that I loved about the fact that you are the destroyer is the limiting in the name of the destroyer.
Yeah.
Because while it's limited, it's also just create very fitting name.
Yeah, because
I
in the
was-
world of freedom and democracy, you're not free to choose your own name for the destroyer.
Exactly,
which I think
exactly.
It's extremely funny.
And it's extremely fun, yes, because you go on someone else and you watch their name of their destroyer, and it's always something like Mother of Freedom,
Harbinger of justice.
exactly, Harbinger of
Bringer of
Justice.
democracy. Yeah.
And it's beautiful because it's stupid enough to be laughable, but it's perfectly in theme, and it still gives you this tiny amount of personalization that you're thinking, yeah, but that's still my destroyer.
And what I love about this is that the community is buying into it on a level which I've seen only in Deep Rock Galactic level of communities. Like in Deep Rock Galactic, every time you encounter a video of Deep Rock Galactic, you get people saying rock and stone, like all in caps, because that's the motto of the game. Here it's democracy for Super Earth and whatnot.
Exactly.
And when someone goes out of the narrative, like asking, are we the bad guys because we destroyed our own planet? Someone is replying, this is traitor talk. Get him.
Yes, oh yes, so many times. I loved so many videos about someone like, guys, do you think this war is fake? That's a traitor talk.
That's a traitor.
I love it. And Metzger was saying that you could do that in Helldivers 1, he corrected himself. And for sure, they're going to have customization in the future. I agree. For sure, they will
It
have
would be
more
great.
customization.
It would be great, honestly. But I think that even now it's fitting that you can't customize anything because
Exactly.
it's cheap and expendable.
And actually, I think that this is something that might happen in Helldivers 3. As a big selling point of Helldivers 3 will be like maybe there are elements of customization that you not have now, but still fit the concept of Stefano saying. So it's still customizable, but you're still one of 300 or gazillion million Helldivers that are dying every second. And because that is the entire point of the game.
And you get that counter, right? Because when you choose the mission on the right, you have amount of Helldivers dead. And it's like in the trillions by now.
How many heroes?
Heroes, right.
Always.
Sorry for being a traitor.
Exactly, yeah. So don't be a traitor. Now, we got actually longer than usual today because it was very fun and Stefano is great and gave us a time. So thank you, Stefano. Thank you, Uriel. And thank you, everyone that was watching. So, wait, there is just one last question from Arius, so let's take it. I think that a pay plus in a game monetization is perfect formula, like I never do. But for you, people has more attraction this formula or standard free to play? Oh, this formula from you.
Oh, I hate free to play. Like oh, sorry, don't get me started on this because if you're telling me that this game is free, but you can skip the waiting line for 200 diamonds or whatever, and I have to pay to skip the game, I get very pissed off. So no, I really like this formula instead of the usual. This is free to play, but in order to access the rest of the game, we have to pay 59 euros every month.
And I agree with Stefan on that. Also because, and this is purely from a game designer point of view, so not Diego as the gustibus of Diego, but Diego as designer. If you do free to play, you are forced to make certain game design decision, not only on the monetization, and even outside monetization, just simple game design decision that you're forced to do because of the nature of free to play. Because what is the point of free to play? The point of free to play is that you are reducing the entry cost. So everyone can join because it's free. So you get a lot more people, and then you lose some of these people. While when you buy a premium, less people will join at the start, but this people is more likely to stick because they invested. This is called sunken cost. It's happen everywhere. So when you have this horde of people that join, and then you lose them, this is called retention, just the terminology. As a game designer, if you want to take advantage of the only reason why you choose to do free to play, which is that having this horde of people entering your game, then you have to do certain things to reduce the retention. So to increase the retention, so to
reduce the churn and increase the retention,
exactly.
but it's the same thing. Yeah.
Now, how can you reduce the churn and increase the retention? There are many techniques, but basically most of these techniques are exactly what Stefano was saying, predatory. So daily rewards, because if I get used to get in the game every day, you develop what is called an habit loop, and so it's become second nature to be in the game. But also other things, like Stefano was saying, I will physically stop you to playing the game for a certain amount of time because I need you to come back tomorrow. If you could play the entire game for free, because maybe the game is 5 hours, but if you can do the entire game in 5 hours and never come back because you finish it, and the game was free, you literally never give me money. So it's like, it's a big problem. So I have to physically stop you by paywalling, for example, or adding what Stefano was saying, give me 200 diamonds to skip. I have to give you energy system. So I have to give you a lot of certain things that I need to add, just even if I want to be very pure game designer, not making people waste money, just to make the game efficient at being a free-to-play game, I need to add a lot of predatory system. Even if my intention is not being predatory.
And even from a community standpoint, by the game being free-to-play, just by the virtue of being free-to-play, you are not allowed to nurture the community as you would like, because every time you ban someone, you're losing money. Whenever, as opposed to if you buy the game and you behave like an asshole in game, you get banned, but you already paid, so we don't care. But if we start implementing the same system for free-to-play, you basically are restricted in the people you can ban or suspend from the game, because every time you'll take someone away from the game, you're taking away from your retention. So it's a tricky thing to handle. And I saw that in League of Legends and World of Warcraft being free to play and so on. So it becomes a harder balance to keep for both community and game design and programmers and support, because they need to change the way they handle the tickets. So it's trickier when you go free to play without being predatory. Yeah.
Also, just to answer quickly to Netscal very quickly, just because I say that, I mean, we can continue if you guys want.
I don't mind.
So Netscal say, I don't love free to play, but for certain games, that's almost a necessity. If you need big player base to ensure the game doesn't die, see MOBA. The problem is that most developers don't see the tool by as an end to stream as much money as possible, as from Wales. Now, there are two elements here. Yes, absolutely, certain developers are very predatory and they prey on whales, and that is 100% correct, Netscal. Perfect. The first part actually is partially correct in the sense that it's a decision. What I mean by that is that if you are a game developer and you say, I want to invest 5 million into making a MOBA, and then you don't have the money to keep the MOBA premium, because to make it premium, then you need a lot of advertisement, it's still a choice. Okay, it's not that it's a force. You're not forced to go free to play. You are doing a certain business model. In this case, your business model is decide to go free to play, to not invest into marketing, and maybe invest more into the game. But there are other developers that they prefer maybe to partner with a first party or with a big name, or ask for more money and go premium, or go to other ways. So it's not that it's a necessity. It's a business decision that sometimes is correct, sometimes is a forced business decision. Not everyone can just summon infinite money, but sometimes it's a business decision. Sometimes
but
it's just
another indicator of how much it impacts game design is the fact that every game that is switching to free to play has to take a break from being online in order to switch to free to play, because they need to change certain elements in design and monetization to be able to become free to play. And I don't know, I would like to ask you and Uriel, because you're more game designers than I am. I think that limiting your choices when it comes to game design, it's already hard as it is. When you also introduce the elements of monetization and retention and churn, I think it becomes impossible for a small team to be able to effectively handle even the volume of decisions that you have to make in order to enable everything, right?
I leave this to Uriel because I actually answer
Yeah.
too much. So please, Uriel.
Well, as a person who is working in a small team, I feel like if we had to create a free-to-play game, and actually people came to us asking to make our game a free-to-play, changing into a free-to-play model, it would be pretty impossible because to be free-to-play, we need to access an infinite amount of data about the players and their habits to maximize our ability to get money from them, and we simply don't have the means to do that. And even if we had access to all of the data, we wouldn't be able to analyze it and comprehend it and make all of the decisions to implement what we got from the data. So yeah, I think in our case, in a small team like ours, it would be literally impossible to do so.
That's understandable.
Absolutely. Okay. So I will say that we actually answered a lot, and it was very cool. I mean, Helldivers. Maybe we can do Helldivers again with
I feel
Stefano
like
if you like it.
there are still so many things we didn't even touch about Helldivers.
Exactly.
Just to mention one, the first chapter of Helldivers was a completely different genre of game. That's an interesting decision that they made.
A very interesting pivot. So if you enjoyed, and to be honest, it seems that you did because we went above the normal time. So we will do again an Helldivers, maybe with Stefano, maybe with Stefano and someone else. I don't know. We'll see. We need people that play Helldivers, basically, because otherwise we can't talk about it. That's kind of like a necessity. But thank you for giving us your time once again. Thank you for writing. Thank you for saying hi. Thank you for asking questions. We appreciate that immensely. I know that everyone say that, but it's true. I mean, we're literally doing this to chat with you guys. Otherwise, I was playing games, maybe Helldivers too. So we do exactly for that. So thank you for participating. We will see you next Tuesday with Unlock Game Talks next episode, which I have no idea yet what it's going to be about. So we will discover it. That's why I can't give you spoiler, because actually they are not spoiler. I have no clue. So thank you. Have a great night and see you next week. Bye.
Thank you again for having me. Bye.
Bye.